Hi, welcome to our channel of IGNOU Audiobooks, Indira Gandhi National Open University, School of Continuing Education, SOCE, Master's Degree Programs, MA, in Rural Development, MRD 10 to Rural Development Program, Block 1 Poverty Alleviation Programs, a retrospect, Unit 6 Employment Assurance Scheme, EAS 6.0 Objectives. After studying this unit, you should be in a position to Times describe the need for wage employment programs. Times identify the people and areas for which such programs are very useful. Times critically examine the operational aspects of the program. Times explain the funding pattern of the program. And Times list and describe the types of works taken under the program. 6.1 Introduction. Though JRY covered all the blocks of the country and the program was implemented by the Gram Panchayats to ensure that all villages get the benefit of the program, it was felt that the program was not able to solve the problems of unemployment and underemployment, particularly in remote, difficult, and backward areas where the opportunities of farm employment were very poor and the cost of living was much higher than other places due to poor accessibility and backwardness, and also the minimum wages did not help improve their purchasing power as compared to the wage earners of other areas. In order to mitigate the severe poverty in such areas, the Government of India introduced Revamped Public Distribution System (RPDS) in the year 1992 to 93 to ensure subsidized and adequate supply of food grains to the poor. There were 1778 blocks across 261 districts in the country identified as difficult and backward areas for RPDS. Subsequently, to intensify the poverty alleviation program and to enhance the employment opportunities in these blocks, a new program called Employment Assurance Scheme (EAS) was launched on 2nd October 1993, covering all the 1778 blocks under RPDS. These blocks were identified mainly in PAP, DDP, hill and tribal areas. The main objective of the EAS was also on the lines of JRY, i.e. to provide gainful employment during lean agriculture season in the form of manual works to all able-bodied adults who were in need and desirous of working but unable to find anything to do. The secondary objective was to develop economic infrastructure and community assets and resources for sustained employment and development. 6.2 Important features of EAS. In order to operationalize the program to achieve its objectives, initially the main features of the program design were as follows. Times the scheme was operative in 1778 blocks of the country. Times the funding of the scheme was on an 80-20 basis between the center and states. Times the central share of funding was directly released blockways to the ZPDRDAs based on the demand for wage employment and expenditure. Times the scheme was demand-driven and therefore there was no fixed budgetary provision for the scheme. Times a maximum of 2 adults per family were to be provided the wage employment up to 100 days in a year. New works were not to be started if the employment potential was available through plan and non-plan works already in progress in a particular area and the assurance could be fulfilled by utilizing the same. Times the work should be labor-intensive as well as result in the creation of durable and productive assets. Times an individual beneficiary project based on the lands of BPL families was allowed for horticulture development. Times the persons who desire for wage employment should get registered with the village development officer or Gram Panchayat, which would issue a family card for the purpose. Times when more than 10 workers demand work, new projects could be started. Times the scheme is implemented by the DRDA and other district officers of various departments, block development officers and the panchayats at all the 3 levels, i.e., Jilla Panchayat, Panchayat Samiti and Gram Panchayats. Times the state-level coordination committee for the rural development program has the responsibility for overall supervision, guidance and monitoring of EAS. 6.3 Priorities under EAS. The works to be taken up under this program were similar to those of JRY, but greater emphasis was given to watershed development, wasteland development and the development of other community as well as individual productive assets, especially those belonging to the SCs, STs and other poor sections of the village. The priorities for the works under EAS were as follows: B. Works identified on the basis of the treatment plans for water conservation, land protection, vegetative barriers, forestation, agrohorticulture, silvi, pasture, etc. under watershed development. 2. Minor irrigation tanks, percolation tanks, village ponds, canal works, etc. 3. Link roads selected on the basis of master plans prepared for districts. 2. Enhance connectivity of the villages. Primary school buildings on the pattern of Operation Blackboard as implemented under JRY. Buildings for Anganwadis. 6.4 Coverage and extension of EAS. EAS was initially started in 1778 blocks which were found to be most backward and difficult and had high concentration of the unemployed and the underemployed. The program was expanded further to cover additional 409 blocks during 1994 to 95. These blocks were under DPAP DDP and Modified Area Development Approach, MADA, having higher concentration of tribal population. Again in March 1995, EAS was further extended to another 256 blocks, 233 flood-prone blocks in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Assam and 23 blocks of Jammu and Kashmir, in view of the special conditions prevailing there. In the subsequent year, i.e. 1996, all the blocks under intensive JRY, IJRY, were merged with EAS and as a consequence 722 blocks in 120 IJRY districts were brought under EAS. In the year 1996, the Moadi decided to cover the entire country under EAS in 2 phases. Of the remaining blocks, 50% were brought under EAS coverage during 1996 to 97, and as a result 1123 blocks were added under the program in the first phase and the remaining 1121 blocks in 1997 to 98. At the end of the financial year 1996 to 97, EAS covered all the 5448 rural blocks in the country. The main features of the revised program were as follows: times the resources under the program were shared by the centre and state governments in the ratio of 75-25. Times the central share under the program would be released directly to the district rural development agencies. Times DRDAs were to release 70% to the Panchayat Samitis and 30% to the Jilla Parishads to be utilized in areas affected by endemic labor exodus, areas under distress. Times diversion of funds from one district to another and, similarly, form one Panchayat Samiti to another was not permitted. Times the Jilla Parishad was the implementation authority for the funds released to both the Jilla Parishad and the Panchayat Samiti. Times the Jilla Parishad was supposed to prepare an annual action plan every year. Times all works under EAS were to be executed departmentally only by the respective implementing agencies, and in no case any contractor was to be engaged for the execution of the works under the program. Times all works started under EAS should be labor-intensive with wage material ratio of 60-40. Times priority was to be accorded to the works of soil and moisture conservation, minor irrigation, rejuvenation of drinking water sources and augmentation of ground water, traditional water harvesting structures. Works related to watershed schemes, not watershed development. Formation of rural roads, linking villages with other villages and block headquarters, and roads linking the villages with agricultural, fields, drainage works, forestry, etc. Times Jilla Parishad's Panchayat Samitis were permitted to spend up to a maximum of 15% on maintenance of assets created under the scheme. times the Jilla Parishad was to maintain the employment register for the entire district, times minimum equal wages fixed by the state government should be paid in cash under the program, both for skilled and unskilled labor. The following construction works were not allowed under EAS, times buildings for religious purposes, times monuments, memorials, statues, idols, arch gates or welcome gates, times big bridges, times government office buildings, panchayat buildings and compound walls, times buildings for higher secondary schools and colleges. 6.5 Funding pattern and implementation of EAS. 6.5.1 Funding pattern of EAS. In the beginning of the program, when it covered selected blocks, there were no physical and financial targets as the program was demand-driven, and therefore, there was considerable flexibility in the execution of works and funding them. This trend continued till 1996, when it was decided to cover all the blocks under the program, after the extension of the program to all the rural blocks of the country. However, for purposes of funding, the blocks were classified into A, B and C categories, according to their backwardness, difficult conditions and population size. The central and state share of each installment for three respective categories of blocks were as follows: A. 40 lakhs rupees central share and 10 lakhs rupees state share for the A category blocks, B. 30 lakhs rupees central share and 7.50 lakhs rupees state share for the B category blocks, and C. 20 lakhs rupees central share and 5 lakhs rupees state share for the C category blocks. The latest criterion for categorizing the blocks into these three categories was mainly population as follows: A. Blocks with more than 1,96,287 inhabitants. B. Blocks with a population between 65,585 and 1,96,286 inhabitants. And C. Blocks with less than 65,585 inhabitants. 6.5.2 Registration for wage employment. Persons who need and seek employment under the scheme were required to register themselves in the village panchayats where they were residing. Every family whose adult members were registered had to be provided with a family card. Employment provided to the members of the family under EAS works or under any other plan or non-plan scheme were to be noted in the family card. 6.5.3 Planning and implementation. The district collector D.Y. Commissioner was the overall implementing authority for the program in the district. She was responsible for coordinating works and the allocation of funds among the RPDS blocks in the earlier stages of the program, and later according to the categories of the blocks in the district among various implementing agencies. All implementing agencies were accountable to the DC for proper maintenance of accounts, measurement of physical works completed, details of works and accounts for all works entrusted to them under EAS. The number of persons registered for wage employment under EAS was 4.12 crores, covering all the blocks in the country till November 1998. The details of the financial and the physical achievements under EAS since its inception in 1993 up to November 1996 are outlined in Table 6.1 below. It may be noted that except in 1998 to 99 and 2000 to 2001, the performance in terms of financial investment as a percentage of the available funds was below 75%. One of the major problems in utilizing funds was the lack of projects, as similar works were being executed under JRY also. 6.5.4 Watershed development under the program. As stated earlier, one of the main emphases of the program was to develop local resources which would not only increase the employment opportunities for the poor, but also create productive assets and thereby enhance production in the rural areas. Watershed development was therefore one such program which was given priority under EAS. 6.5.5 Monitoring and evaluation. The state-level coordinating committee for rural development had the overall responsibility for the supervision and monitoring of the program. The states were also required to constitute district and block level EAS committees wherever the scheme was implemented earlier. Later, when all the districts and blocks were brought under the scheme, the district and block level EAS committees were formed. Everywhere. At the district level, the members of the EAS committee included district level officers of all the departments concerned, prominent elected representatives, NOGs, etc. The DC was the chairman of the committee. Similarly, the block level EAS committee included officers of the implementing agencies at the block level, elected representatives, NGOs, and the nominees of the DC. These committees were supposed to meet every month to review the progress of the ongoing projects, recommend approve new projects, and also the members of the committee were authorized to conduct field inspections of the works, muster rolls, payment of wages, etc., to ensure that the works were completed timely. Quality of works was maintained, wages were paid according to the minimum prescribed, wages and payments were made in time. 6.6 Changes in the program. During the year 1999, the following changes were introduced in EAS in order to implement the scheme more vigorously. The changes were as follows. Panchayati Raj institutions at all the three levels have been included as implementing agencies. 2. Registration of which seekers could be done at Gram Panchayats and work sites. 3. The plan of projects would be prepared as per the suggestions of Gram Sabha and Panchayats as well as other sources like line departments, people's representatives, etc. 4. To bring transparency in the implementation of the program. All states were advised to exhibit prominently the details of funds received, works sanctioned, estimated cost of works, quality of material used, number of workers engaged, etc. at the work site or the Gram Panchayat concerned. The implementing agencies were permitted to utilize the services of one person from among the beneficiary groups as an animator leader facilitator for the maintenance of muster rolls, payment of wages, monitoring the quality of works, etc. The accounts of the Gram Panchayats were to be open for scrutiny by the Gram Sabha. 6. To avoid multiplicity of committees, it was decided to merge district and block level EAS committees with the existing vigilance and monitoring committees. 6.7 Impact of the program. Though EAS was able to generate wage employment and create community assets, it could not achieve the desired objectives. One of the main reasons was that there was lack of planning for the identification and formulation of labor-intensive works. In many cases, school buildings or community halls were constructed which consumed more funds for material components but generated less employment. This was also the reason for the poor utilization of funds in many states. In some cases, EAS and JAY schemes overlapped each other, resulting in wastage of resources and corruption. Though EAS funds were meant to be utilized as a last resort, things did not happen that way. A universal coverage triggered increased demand for funds from states beyond their available budgetary resources. Till 31st March 1999, the scheme was of a demand-driven nature and the better off states grabbed a lion's share of funds while the needy ones were left out. To rectify this, it was decided that with effect from 1st April 1999, the scheme would involve specific allocations to each state based on its level of poverty. As to EAS impact, a study by the Program Evaluation Organization, PAO, 2000B, found that the estimated proportion of registered job seekers who actually got any employment was as low as 25% in sample villages. The average number of days of employment per person per year was less than 53 as per the official records. The information gathered from the beneficiaries, however, revealed that 69% of them got less than 30 days of employment and another 17% between 30 and 50 days. The overall average for the sample states works out to 31 days. Even in the matter of asset creation, the study found that central norms had not been followed. For example, none of the sample states had earmarked A. 40% of funds for watershed development and B. 20% for minor irrigation, link roads, and buildings for schools and Anganwadis. Such assets were thought of for their potential for sustained employment generation locally. Several lacunae had come to notice in the design and implementation of EAS. The first of these was bogus reporting. Field staff reported the figures of achievements in the manner expected of them, i.e. wage component at 60%, proportion of SC cent as well as women, etc. District collectors who administered the scheme were under pressure to furnish utilization certificates so that the states could draw the next installment from the center. Money was considered to have been spent once it was allotted by district to panchayats, even when no physical expenditure had taken place. Secondly, employment generation programs created incomes for the rural poor but left no assets behind at the individual level. Once such programmers are withdrawn, the poor would again fall below the poverty line in absence of any family-based assets. Thirdly, development of vital infrastructure like roads, water supply, electricity, schools and the like was neither labor-intensive nor did it result in assets for the use of the poor primarily. Fourthly, employment schemes provided massive funds for the construction of roads and schools. In the process, villagers became temporary state employees in the departments concerned and thus are continued in a state of psychological dependence and expectation from the state. Lastly, such programs encouraged corruption both at the political and the administrative levels. Keeping the above in view, the EAS was merged with JGSY in the year 2001 and is now called Sampurna Gramin Rojgar Yojana SGRY. 6.8 Summary. The EAS program was started to help difficult and backward areas of the country due to various reasons, especially for political considerations. However, the program was progressively extended to all the rural blocks of the county. Thus, the intensity with which EAS was started in selected blocks was lost, and with the expansion of coverage, thinning of funds was an obvious consequence. Moreover, the two programs, JRY and EAS, had the same objectives, types of works as well as implementation processes. Consequently, there was not only overlapping among works, but also considerable wastage and misuse of funds. EAS was merged with JGSY in 2001 and the program renamed Sampurna Gramin Rojgar Yojana SGRY. Thank you. Subscribe to our channel for more updates, and we will see you with the next chapter.